Okay, hello everybody. Welcome back to my channel today. Today we are going to talking about our philosophy topic. So our topic today is talking about how to argue things. So in the last debate, I already said about the way to doing philosophy. Doing philosophy which means you're going to question everything but the argument after you answer those questions. And it's not enough that you just going to ask any old question when you are doing philosophy. You need to know how to argue property. In particular, you going to argue and make the argue by two things, named the premise and conclusion. A premise is a statement that can either be true or fail, which means that there are sometimes that the premise is not good its way too. And the conclusion is a statement that means to follow from one or more premise and then making the result of those premise. And if argument if an argument is good, then its premise will going to be a good reason too. And also the premise will going to be a good things to believe its conclusion. And here are some examples of argument for you guys to see if all of things or all of argument made by premise and conclusion are right or not. But practically, all of the conclusion is not all right, which means there's some still something wrong. Let's take three examples for it. So with each examples, we have two premise and one conclusion. So the first one, example A, the premise one is all football have the round shape because people need the round shape to can kick it. Then premise two is this is a football. So the conclusion is this football that I have is round shape. So this is the example one. Example P, which means the second one, the premise one is all people with brown hair have the brown eyes. The premise two that my friend have a brown hair. And the conclusion is so my friend have a brown eyes. And the last conclusion that all of the cats in the world is animal. The second premise that my pet is a rat, but is an animal too. The conclusion is so my rat is a cat too. So after all of those examples, we could see that philosophers will go into examine and research their argument using a system named logic. Logic is a very famous thing that we already use in our normal life. So if a premise is true and the conclusion makes sense with the premise, so you can see that this is a good argument. So there are sometimes you can see and notice that there is something wrong with argument. So in our examples is the example B and C. They are both bad argument and the failed one. They are not true. The B is a bad argument because the premise one, all people with brown hair have brown eyes. So you can see in reality, not all people with brown hair have brown eyes. So this argument is bad. And once you realize that the premise one is false, you have no reason to believe the conclusion. And when an argument fails in this way, it's said to be unsound. The example C is a bad argument because the conclusion doesn't follow from the premise. The premise says that this all of the cat in the world is animal. But there is the agree that the cat is animal and the rat is an animal too. But somehow the conclusion didn't go to follow that why is all animal is cat. They say that all cat is animal, but not mean all animal is cat. So there are somehow that we could say that the logic of the conclusion was being broke and not have the connection with the premise. Okay, so logic is a very useful tool of examining philosophical and indeed going to use this everywhere and every day. So the logic is the very important thing that you can say the most important one to keep a philosophy or the philosophers do their work. So when you guys want to do the philosophy, you guys have to know and get some information about the logic of how you guys watching and get some basic vision before you going to make argument and then going to make more questions to growth and develop your argument. Okay, so that's all I want to share you guys today. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys on my next video. And now it's time for us to say goodbye then. See ya.